inch of just rain and even some thunderstorms. Okay, for the overnight, in green, that's rain or freezing rain. In pink, that's freezing rain. And we'll continue watching areas of moisture pushing through, maybe a little bit lighter at times. And here you go, potential of maybe in the afternoon tomorrow, a couple of heavier downpours. Okay, this is one computer model saying, hey, up to about a 5/100ths of an inch or so through morning tomorrow, and then things blossoming by Wednesday, and then getting worse Wednesday into Thursday. Again, this is just one computer model. Now I want to show you one other, just in. This is showing nearly a 1/2 inch of ice accumulation for Georgetown and Rockdale, 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulation in Austin, and this could potentially be a much worse scenario. So I would say prepare for the worst. And if we don't see it, consider yourselves lucky. But elevated surfaces, trees, bridges, overpasses, all of that expected to be affected. In the morning, you're going to wake up to 20s to low 30s. Temperatures tomorrow just aren't going to budge. So I think we're probably going to be in this scenario. Tree limbs breaking, roads icing up, scattered power outages, and a really tough time. It's good that schools are out. We don't want you on those roadways. We finally thaw out by Groundhog Day into the 50s, and this weekend's looking a lot warmer. We'll be right back. If there are any trends that I'm starting to see develop, it would be colder, faster, potentially worse in terms of the ice storm, which is just getting going. We may see the last ice end in the Western Hill Country Thursday morning. Yep, Thursday. It may not just be until Wednesday. Currently, the winter storm warning in pink is in effect until midday Wednesday. You know, the more I look at things, I think we're still going to have icing issues through the day Wednesday night, and then finally ending on Thursday. Folks in Fayette County, you're under a winter weather advisory. You're about the only areas. I probably could have turned on a light, huh? It's a little dark over here. Let me turn the light over so that you can actually see me. This will help a little bit. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm Chik Windler, and this is a look at, well, what is likely to be a pretty significant mess. Let me make this a little bit bigger so that it'll fit the screen, and we'll talk about some of the upcoming icing considerations, temperatures. Sorry, the light is still a little dark. I've got like one side lit and the other side not. Don't worry, if you're not, I can fix this. Hope you all are doing great. All things considered, I am starting to see more reports coming in from different spots of icing issues. Apparently there's some spots along Ben White. There was an accident that was reported there. Let me see. I'm going to get good light. We will make it happen. Is that better? Maybe? Oh, it's the other side. Stand by. Danny says, hello there, stranger. Hi, how you doing? Is that a little better? All right, I got lights on either side. It'll do. We'll make it work. All right, so here's the deal, you guys. Right now, I am becoming increasingly concerned that this is going to turn into one of those really sloppy, messy storms. Sally, hello, says careful driving home. I know, I'm hearing the roads are not great. And there was a little advisory that came out that in Pflugerville, the flyovers at the 130 Toll Road and Highway 45 have been closed for good reason with icing happening there. Basically, any elevated structures or surfaces, that's where you're going to have the biggest issues. And even from the tower cam that you can see right here, it's not pouring, it's just kind of misting and drizzling. But even that, because temperatures are 29, 30 degrees, is enough. And look at this, we only had 1/100th of an inch of rain officially today, but still, that's all it takes to cause some issues. Sherry, Danny, Abel, hello. Thank you to all of you for joining in tonight, and I hope you all are hunkered down and just taking it easy. I'm so glad that school districts decided that they were going to play it safe and call it. And I think they should also be out on Wednesday. In my opinion, parts of the Hill Country should be under this winter storm warning all the way through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. I think it's going to be cold longer than we suspect. So in pink, those are the winter storm warnings that are in effect. And you hear the term winter storm, and a lot of people think, oh, is there going to be snow? What's happening? No snow, because the reason is we've got very warm air at, half a mile up in the atmosphere, and it's just a shallow surface layer that is freezing, and that's where the big issues are. Um, Myron asking, is Wednesday the worst day? In my opinion, Wednesday is absolutely the worst day. Why? Because temperatures are still going to be freezing and the heaviest moisture moves in on Wednesday. So instead of just having spritzes and sprinkles of freezing drizzle here and there, that's when we're going to see the rain come down heavily. There may even be some thunderstorms on Wednesday, the way I see things. Harold, hello, hope you're doing well. Staying warm. Okay, folks in Fayette County, you're about the only glimmer of hope we have right now. Right now, LaGrange, Schulenburg, Carmine, Flatonia, you are all under a winter weather advisory. Probably going to see 1/10 of an inch or less of icing. But no snow out of this, just too warm aloft. And unfortunately, the worst possible winter weather scenario is one where we're just dealing with ice. Ice is so difficult to drive in, it's going to create big time issues. By the way, thought I'd let you know that in Arkansas and parts of Tennessee, it is an ice storm warning proper. Why don't we have ice storm warnings? National Weather Service office is kind of at their discretion, can designate how they want to disseminate the warnings. And so for our area in Central Texas, in order to avoid the confusion of having an ice storm warning and a heavy snow advisory and all these different things, they just lump everything into one big old winter storm warning, which, depending on the weather scenario, could either be an ice storm, sleet, snow, all of the above. In this instance, it is going to be freezing rain, which means it's rain when it's coming out of the clouds. It hits a surface that is at or below freezing, at which point it freezes on contact. So I can tell you, when I ran out for dinner, I went a cool half mile in my car from the station to the drive-thru and back. Didn't have to use the ice scraper yet, but the windshield wipers were definitely crunchy. So, and also some of the signs and some of the plants outside were already starting to get covered in a thin layer of ice, and it's just going to get thicker and worse. Unfortunately, the thicker the layer of ice you have, the more likely that we start to have trees that weigh down onto power lines, and power lines come down and cause possible power outages. Now, currently, radar is actually in a little bit of a lull, if you will. There are some spotty areas of light freezing drizzle still ongoing in Milam County. But even though it may not be necessarily prolific on radar, there's still a lot of moisture around. In fact, one of the things I haven't checked lately, but I'm going to right now while it's top of mind, I'm going to check visibilities, because sometimes if there's low visibility, even though we don't have necessarily precipitation falling out of the sky, we can have mist and fog in the atmosphere, which can sometimes cause it to freeze, and freezing fog can cause some icing. So you can see visibilities down in Giddings and in Carmine are down to 3 to 4 miles. So we don't have any dense fog, but we do have some spots that are reporting at least some visibility issues. All right, check this out. Look at this. This is from Will Leverett out in Llano County. He lives atop a mountain, Riley Mountain, in southern Llano County. High elevation, like I think he said it was like 1,500 to 1,800 feet high. So this isn't representative of most of our area, but he said that it was freezing rain that was coming down, pelting pretty well. I mean, if from this vantage point, doesn't it look amazing? Obviously, when you're taking at nighttime, the motion of the precipitation looks pretty impressive, and it's windy up there too. But yeah, just an example of how it looks in some parts of Central Texas as we speak. Laura says she just want to hide under 10 blankets the next 2 days. You know what? If we made it through February 2021, we will make it through this. This is not as cold. This is not as long in duration. We don't have multiple ice storms sandwiched with a big snowstorm. And fingers crossed, ERCOT says they're going to be okay. The power outages that will be experienced will be the localized ones that people can run out and be like, oh, this tree fell on that power line. We'll make that repair and get everybody back. So it's not going to be without issues, but it won't be like a huge widespread power grid problem. Knock on something, we hope. Okay, so here's another thing. Temperatures are obviously key with these scenarios. Currently, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, The only spots in our area that are at 32 are out in Fayette County. Everybody else is below. Sometimes, if you're right on the edge at 32 degrees, roads are kind of okay. But once you get down to about 30, 29, that is when even roads have issues. And we're already starting to see some reports of that, unfortunately. So if you don't have to drive, don't. If you do have to drive, like me, you go really slow. Oftentimes, and I will tell you, I've lived in a ton of winter weather places, so I'm not, I don't consider myself good at driving in winter weather conditions, but I'm not a newbie either. And the biggest thing is don't make any sudden movements, slow on the brakes, and make sure you leave tons of distance between you and the other person because you don't know what their driving skills are either. And try and find a route that has the least amount of elevated roadways. On mine, I know that there are some spots where in previous ice storms I've seen people spin out at like certain intersections. So I know when I'm driving those to be careful, especially careful. Okay, so here's a look at the big picture. It's crazy to think we were 75 degrees ahead of the cold front on Sunday afternoon. Cold front came through. It is now stalled down to our south. And what is likely to happen through the next couple of days is we'll see little bouts of moisture kind of pull up and over the front that is down to our south and feed in persistent little bands of light precipitation. I'm actually going to take the cloud layer off of this so we can just isolate the precipitation so you can kind of see what it looks like across the entire state. I've already seen issues from the DFW area. Denton, Texas was reporting like multi-vehicle issues. Arkansas has had some pretty significant icing already, and then there is some snow on the northern side and northeastern sections of Arkansas. Meantime, out west, I've highlighted a big old area of low pressure. That's an upper level low, and it's basically the system that is sitting there and spinning, and until it does what we call eject out, which means it's going to like more or less dig down and then finally pull through by Thursday, until it makes that big move, we're basically stuck in this pattern where it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see where the clouds are coming from. They're coming from southwest to northeast. So this is kind of supplying some of that moisture. And the process that we're having, this is your science lesson for the day, the process that we're watching is called isentropic uplift. So essentially, down at the surface is where there's really cold air. Up above is where there's really warm air, and we've got southwesterly winds that are blowing in over that layer, creating the lift for precipitation to occur. So we're going to see multiple rounds of this happen all the way into early Thursday. So here's what I'm thinking. I expect temperatures to be at or below freezing until the middle of Wednesday. That's not good news. If we were able to thaw out tomorrow afternoon, then we could like maybe melt some of the ice away and kind of put ourselves in a better standing. But if we don't melt and if we stay at freezing all the way till Wednesday, then that basically means every little bit of ice that's accumulating creates additional problems that are then built on. So, yeah. Ice accumulations. I think even in Austin, I think we're going to see 1/4 to 1/2 inch of icing. That's not good. And then Wednesday, what starts as ice is going to transition over to rain once temperatures do warm above freezing. In Austin, I think we'll get up to around 36. Not much above freezing, but enough that it'll be rain. And we could even see thunderstorms. However, if you're in the hill country, you may still see additional ice accumulations all the way through Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, and finally leaving on Thursday morning. So I think we could see another inch of just rain in the form of showers and thunderstorms Wednesday afternoon through Thursday morning, aside from all the icing. I mean, there's just a lot to look at. Let's see, Keon, you say as long as this clears out before Chinatown on New Year's event on Saturday. You know what? Saturday's looking great. I think you and your comrades out there are going to have an awesome time. Charles gets off work at 5 a.m. Hope your drive isn't bad. We will be thinking of you. Please be safe. That is for sure. Frankie, good evening to you. Say run was run weather. Oh, running weather. Sorry. I was trying to figure out what your emojis were that you put on there. Laura says, can you run through a model again, like the NAM or the HER? Yes, I will actually run through multiple models for you in just a moment. By the way, long time no chat. Thanks you guys for checking in. It's been a while. Here's a look at one of our high-res computer models. This one just happens to be the HRRR computer model. Rod, how's it going? Thank you for checking in. So you can see this is the HRRR computer model. In this instance, when you see pink, this shows mix. In this instance, it will be freezing rain, aka ice, which is rain freezing on contact, creating a glaze, like a glazed donut on surfaces, and that'll mean a skating rink in some spots. Laura, you're very welcome. Hanson, how are you? You're off work until Thursday. It's good. I'm glad you don't have to hit the roads. Mac, hi, how are you? Long time no see. A lot of you familiar folks. Natalie, hi. I'm glad you caught me live too. I'm glad to see you. So, periodic, light to moderate freezing drizzle to freezing rain will be possible. Here's 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Thank goodness the alarm clock doesn't go off at 6 a.m. for me and probably many of you. Kids out of school, this is a good thing. And then we'll just watch as basically, I actually think from Bastrop and Lee counties, points north and west will be where we see the kind of dividing line. And the only spots that I think have a lesser chance of dealing with issues will be in Fayette County. I really think even some light icing will be through Caldwell, Bastrop, and Lee counties. So if this particular computer model pans out, then we might see a bit of a lull in the Western Hill Country with the heaviest right over Austin as we head into your Tuesday afternoon. So we shall see. And then I'll show you a longer range that gets you all the way through Wednesday into Thursday. So this particular computer model, just through daybreak on Tuesday, is giving us on average about 5/100ths of an inch of ice accumulation. That's not horrible, but it is going to create issues. Watch what it does through the day Tuesday. As we watch, okay, Tuesday and then again into Wednesday, suddenly a lot of spots see 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulation, and in areas like, oddly enough, Elgin and in parts of Burnett County, it could be more. Again, this is just one computer model. I'm going to show you a different one. And all the way into early Thursday, where I think the hill country is going to see even worse conditions. There you go. Widespread, quarter plus ice accumulations. So clearly this is not oh, we made it through the night, we're good. Instead, it's going to be, okay, here's the next wave. Okay, here's more coming. Here's more coming. So plants will be weighed down. Trees will be weighed down. Streets and everything will get slick. All of it. Rod says, freezing almost in Chrisman. Thank you for your report. By the way, Rod, I meant to tell you, I drove through Chrisman a couple of times back in December when I was on my way to the BCS Marathon. Ayas Hello says, Austin going to be as bad as Denton, Texas? I sure hope not, but I would be prepared. People in Austin, Texas are not the best winter weather drivers. So it's not necessarily you I'm worried about. It might be the other person. Just be extremely careful if you do have to be on the roads, and hopefully you don't. Okay, here's another potential, and this is not good at all. This is the graph computer model, and it has come in very bullish. It is suggesting almost a 1/2 inch of ice accumulation from Milam County to Williamson County, over a 1/2 inch accumulation in Burnett County. If this pans out, then many roads will be impassable and schools will most definitely be called for Wednesday and probably into Thursday morning because it'll still be there. We won't really be starting the melting process until after that. Let's see, Rod says, I hope he was close when you might have gone by. You never know. All right, so here is what I'm expecting. Ice impacts through Wednesday, and then I should say, in quotes, for the hill country until early Thursday. Elevated surfaces, we're already seeing that. Trees, bridges, overpasses, untreated roads, all of that is already applying. Treated roads. Here's the thing. Temperatures are not going to be cold enough for the chemicals that they place on the roads to become ineffective. If you get really cold, then it doesn't matter what TxDOT does, it's still a problem. In this instance, if a road is treated, it should be effective as far as helping to not only melt some of the ice, but also to provide more traction for motorists. Power outages, nothing widespread anticipated, but yeah, there are going to be scattered power outages as trees come down on power lines. In the morning, I think we're going to see temperatures drop another degree or so. Right now we're at 30. I'm forecasting a low by morning in Austin of 29, 25 in Mason. You know what? We'll probably be right around 32 in LaGrange. So temps probably going to be continue to be chilly at the very least, but when you factor in that wind out of the north at 10 to 15, it's going to be feeling like 20s across the board. Okay, so I was talking about ice accumulation and some of the impacts that you can have. Laura says you grew up in Denton County and parents still live there. Yeah, I just distinctly saw, and I didn't retweet it, but I noticed it on Twitter. A meteorologist friend of mine who's up in that part of the state who mentioned that there was a pretty big amount. I want to say, was it a 3-mile backup? It was quite a lot of traffic issue because of icing. Okay, so I'm going to say for most of us, I think we're going to be in this middle zone, this quarter to half-inch zone. Tree limbs breaking, roads icing up, scattered power outages. For some isolated spots, this could be more of a crippling ice storm. Numerous trees down, widespread power line damage, roads becoming impassable. For perspective, back in February 2021, when we had ice storm, snow, ice storm. It was just a string of calamities, right? There were some locations that did see up to 3/4 of an inch of ice during that whole stretch. And it took days for all the ice to melt away. So there could definitely be a long-lasting effect from this multi-day storm. Laura says, mother-in-law lives in Denton. There were tons of wrecks there. Saw the video on I-35. Okay. It's good to know how to drive in winter weather, that's for sure. All right, this is not your typical day forecast, is it? 6 a.m., 29. Really? Yes, really. 10 a.m., 29. 2 p.m., 31. I think by about 4 o'clock, we may reach freezing, but probably not warm above freezing, which means anything that falls is likely to fall in the form of freezing rain. All right, so we're going to pick up the computer models. And here we are, 5 o'clock on Tuesday, waiting for potentially even heavier moisture to move in. So let's go through Tuesday night as we head toward Wednesday. So here we are at 3 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Temperatures down to 31 in Austin. Those pinks are a little brighter, meaning the precipitation is coming in a little bit heavier. Now we're to daybreak on Wednesday. And I know the colors look funky. In case you're wondering what's going on, this particular computer model is indicating that there may be potential for thunderstorms by Wednesday morning. But because temperatures are likely to still be at or below freezing, it may actually end up being thunder, freezing rain, if that makes any sense. More or less, thunder and lightning, but enough moisture that we're still seeing it freeze on surfaces, which is going to potentially create really bad ice accumulation. This is Wednesday, in my opinion, is going to be the worst of the time frames for the worst conditions, in Austin at least. Laura says, will it be light freezing rain or will you get heavier? So heavier freezing rain is what I anticipate. I mean, because of the fact that it's not going to be wintry precip falling through the clouds, it'll all be rain. So we'll have thunderstorms, but then when that moisture hits the surface, it will freeze. So if there are puddles, puddles will freeze over. If there are, basically this is skating rink kind of weather. This is going to create that icy glaze across pretty much all the surfaces. Let's walk through the rest of your Wednesday. The heaviest from this particular round should be in and out through about midday on Wednesday, which is when the winter storm warnings are scheduled at this point to expire. I think they should probably be extended because while in Austin we may finally be up to a whopping 33 by midday on Wednesday, we are still likely to be at or below freezing through a good amount of central Texas through the hill country. There will still be icing issues and there will still be precipitation. So I have a feeling it'll be extended. Okay, Then we look toward 4 p.m. I am forecasting a high temperature of 36 on Wednesday. So let's think about this. Monday, today, our high was 41, but most of the day we were well cooler than that. And we may go all the way until Wednesday afternoon in the 30s. Okay, I do think we'll drop back down to freezing by Thursday morning. So overnight Wednesday and on into Thursday, temperatures are going to be in that 32 to 34 degree range. We may see some additional thunderstorms Wednesday night into early Thursday push through. Once they push through, we are officially done. However, worth noting, Thursday morning, it's still 32 in Fredericksburg, and there may still be some patchy, light additional icing after all is said and done. And then just patchy, light showers after that as temperatures warm up into the 40s by midday. And if this all clears out, we might have a fleeting chance at 50 or so by Thursday afternoon. I'll tell you what, though, I had forecast 52 for the afternoon high on Thursday. I've looked at some stuff since then, and I'm kind of like, nah, we're probably going to go 40s for highs on Thursday. So if I had it to do all over again, I would do it a little bit differently. Okay, now this is basically a compilation of the freezing rain plus the regular rain all the way through early Thursday. Worth noting, the heaviest, and this is just one computer model, but this kind of gives you kind of a ballpark. The heaviest percent, and Rockdale obviously is wickety whack. That is, I was going to say, why is it showing 0? There, no, it's better. It's 1.5 inches. It's like, there's no way Rockdale's 0. Okay, so the heaviest pockets of rain, if this particular computer model is correct, could be 2+ inches right through portions of the Austin metro. Obviously, not all of this will be ice. A lot of it will just be rain, but the potential for at least 1/2 inch of ice accumulation prior to when it all turns over to rain. I mean, we want drought relief. We're going to probably see some abundant moisture. Obviously, the more moisture that happens while we're still freezing, the worse off we will be in terms of icing and other issues. And worth noting, while we're on the subject of heavy rain, the Weather Prediction Center actually has us on Wednesday in Highway 77 areas an elevated flood risk, and even in Austin, a low flood risk, just because of the amount of rain that could potentially fall. And this is after the majority of us warm just barely above freezing. I mean, but we're just by a matter of degrees. It's going to be a challenge. We'll say that. Natalie Burns, you're very welcome. My pleasure. Happy to help you out. I know it's been a while, and today I said this is definitely a night to chat, given how much is going on weather-wise, and we're just getting started. It's going to be even worse the next couple of days. Let's see. Lauren says your mother-in-law is in Denton. Yep. Oh, sorry. I saw your comment earlier. There's Lauren and Laura. We got all of you. Let's see. Rose said, sorry, I'm scanning to try and read your comments, and they keep on moving on me. Said you're set to return to Austin tomorrow. Well, safe travels. I'm not, for whatever reason, it's not letting me see your full comment. I'll try one more time. Every time I scroll up, it goes away. Oh yeah, they're from Mexico City. Do you think this will impact flights? So today, there was actually an airport weather warning at Austin Bergstrom, which typically they'll do that either when there's lightning or in this case because there was some freezing rain. Essentially, that usually means it's just slower, like delays. They have to worry about de-icing planes, and they have to worry about making sure that the airport employees are able to, get extra time so that they can, do all of their things that they normally do, but not risking themselves in the process. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're delayed. I hope there's nothing worse than that. But, when it comes to airlines, they're used to de-icing in that process. So it would have to be a very, very significant ice, I would think, before you would have a cancellation. But I am not an aviation expert. So good luck, safe travels, and hope you have a safe and happy flight. All right, Natalie, tuning in from Fredericksburg, say near Enchanted Rock over here. Thank you so much for checking in. I love Enchanted Rock. I haven't been there in forever. I was actually looking at a map today when I was checking that weather spotter that's out in Lander County, and I was like, oh, Will must be pretty close to Enchanted Rock because there's a lot of hills out in that area. He's in the Riley Mountains area. Let's see, will this all help the drought? It should help the drought, but we're a long way off. We need a lot of moisture. As you can see, the heaviest moisture is going to be through Milam County and Lee County and even the Austin area. And that one map I showed you just a little while ago had some pretty good totals that do run right through Travis County. So yes, the moisture should be plentiful and beneficial. Here's a rain forecast comparison, just in case you're wondering. This particular computer model is going gangbusters, bringing heavy moisture. However, this computer model, the European, is also the one that has been way off in terms of temperatures. Its bias in winter weather situations is much warmer. So if you were to have taken the European computer model by gospel, today we would have had highs in the mid-40s or something like outrageous, which we obviously did not. But this just basically is more corroboration, if you will, that yes, we're going to have some significant rain across the area. And then temperature-wise, as we take a look, we do have the potential of seeing 70-degree temps. By Sunday. And incidentally enough, there's actually going to be a Pacific cold front that comes through on Sunday and shifts our winds back to the north. But it still looks really warm to the tune of temperatures in the 70s. So fear not, the ice will melt. It will all go away. Laura says you're often mistaken as a Lauren. Sylvia, hello, how are you? Say, how's Wednesday evening looking? More ice. I think for Austin, Wednesday evening is looking like rain. However, in the hill country, I think it's more ice. So in a couple of degrees will make all the difference in the world. Let's see, say it's a little in Yuma. Shanice says, when will the icing start, or has it already in Austin? It started. So in Austin, we're already seeing issues on bridges, overpasses, flyovers, and anything elevated. Like my car outside is iced up. Not to the point where it won't open, but just to the point where I'll probably need to use the scraper just, quickly before I head on my way home very carefully and very slowly. And then just putting all the pieces together for you. Here's the 7-day forecast. And it's really crazy to think that we've got the gamut from 29 degrees on Tuesday morning for your low to 70 degrees by Sunday and Monday for your high temperatures. But yes, I would say please err on the side of caution. I'm so glad that schools have opted to close, and I think that better safe than sorry. And the less people out on the roads, the more people will be able to, the more the emergency officials and those treating roads will be able to get out there and do their jobs without having to worry about kind of the ripple effect of too many people out there, overconfident drivers, that kind of thing. Let's see. Laura says, Abel, you too. Sally, a friend who works dispatch at United, said the airlines were canceling, so that they can limit the number of airplanes overnight in Austin. That is good intel. Always a good thing to check before you go. And then cross your fingers. Kevin, you have a great night as well. Thanks for checking in. And Abel says, please be careful. Will do. As always, you know that you can get updates anytime on social media. And I don't do it on Facebook as much, but on Twitter, I've actually set it up to where every hour on the hour, it posts a picture of the latest temperatures and the latest radar. And then I've got different things that are set up to automatically post throughout the night, just so that if you're like wondering, hey, what does it look like outside right now? If you go to my Twitter feed, you can get pretty much anything you want, even when I'm asleep. So at Chicago Weather is how you'll find me on all those other social media platforms. And then we've got lots of extended coverage that will be taking place on CBS Austin in the morning. They've staffed us up to do team coverage, not me, but Avery and Austin will be manning the weather ship. And then we're going to have someone out traffic tracking, team of reporters, like extra coverage, making sure that people know everything they need to know, from school closures to road conditions to weather forecast. You want it, you got it, all on CBS Austin. Michelle, thanks for checking in. Is that a Oh, I was going to say, at first I thought that was a broken heart. I was like, oh, you're brokenhearted over the forecast. No, it was just a regular heart. Well, thank you. On that note, I am going to do a little bit of busy work prepping for tomorrow, because it'll be another busy day. And then I'm going to slowly make my way home. And let's hope that everything stays somewhat quieter. As I had mentioned just a bit ago, the radar is actually not as active as it had been earlier, but it'll probably pick up again as we head into the wee hours of the morning. But I'll go ahead and show you one more time a look at the radar. As we watch the blue. So yeah, this is somewhat promising as we take a wide look. You can see obviously temperatures are cold area wide, but notice how the light pinks, which correspond to like the freezing drizzle, there are fewer echoes showing up on radar. So there is still some mist out there, but the steadier, persistent freezing drizzle, at least for now, is not as prominent. Boy, is it cold though. Harper 25, Austin 30. Yeah, you guys bundle up. All right, I am going to call it a night. Always fun catching up with you guys. I know I don't do the chats quite as often as I used to. I've actually really been valuing my sleep, to be honest with you, and I didn't realize how much I was deprived of it until finally I started making a commitment to get it, and it makes a huge difference. So on that note, rest up, you guys. It's going to be a long haul next couple of days. Hopefully you were able to hit the grocery store before the mad rush. I actually was very strategic. I went to the grocery store yesterday in the middle of one of the football games, because I'm like, everybody else is watching this game, so I'm gonna go. Well, it was the Eagles game. I went during the fourth quarter because I'm like, obviously the Eagles are gonna win. But I went to the grocery store thinking most people are watching the game, so I'm gonna go to the grocery store and it won't be as bad. It was busy, but it wasn't horrible. But I heard people who went today that it was like Armageddon. It was crazy. So on that note, have a great night. Julia says, how are the roads? So very good question. TxDOT is a really good resource. I'm trying to remember if I had put text. Let's see if this works. I don't know for sure if it will, but I have a link to TxDOT on my default location. This is a handy dandy way of checking road conditions on TxDOT's website, and I think I can zoom in. Currently, it is not showing anything icy on TxDOT in terms of interstates. However, it looks like if you head north, Belton, Temple, there's some ice icons there. So while there may not be anything that's officially being reported on Drive Texas, I think that that's possibly going to change. I don't know where the icons went, by the way. That was kind of weird. When I zoomed in, they all went away. Also, here's another good resource while we're talking about inclement weather: power outages. This is a look at power outages, which thankfully, as of now, we're not seeing anything significant in Texas. So that's obviously good news as well. Blue is good. So that means that there are very few outages at all. Let me see if there's anything else fun that I can show you while we're thinking about it. That may be it. It's been a while since I've gotten to do the full gamut here. ATX floods. I don't think we have any flooding to report. There are 5 low water crossings that are closed, but these are long-term closures. Let's look. I can show you the Climate Prediction Center outlooks, which are actually looking warmer than average in the next 7 days, or 6 to 10 day outlook, which basically means this upcoming weekend we're going to be back well above average. Okay, now I think we're done. So thanks for that. I'll go back to the previous thing before I sign off, just to make sure nobody else chimed in. And say thanks, stay safe, keep warm. Will do. And Laura, I appreciate that you said gamut, because I love that word, and obviously I used it too, so. All right, you guys have a great night. Take care. We'll talk to you later, and stay tuned to CBS Austin and all of our awesome team of meteorologists and reporters for all the latest. And as always, cbsaustin.com. Take care. Have a good night.